Welcome to Crown TV. Immerse yourself with a captivating audio from our stories. We provide an alternative way to read books in audio. We upload many audiobooks as possible, from bestsellers to timeless classic. Subscribe and stay tuned for new upload.
Episode 56, The Hot Dog Vendor. Kathy's heart fell when she heard what the police captain said. Her whole body trembled a little. Deep down, she knew that Billy was guilty. $350,000 is a huge sum of money, she thought. If I have to pay it back, my life is ruined. Hearing Billy still loudly protesting his innocence, Kathy, who had recovered a little from the shock, also started shouting at the top of her lungs. "It's not us! You guys are mistaken! It was that loser, Alex Ambrose, who stole the money! Let us go!" The louder she shouted, the more she convinced herself that she was innocent. The police captain shook her head in wonder. "Take them away," he ordered. The police officers escorted Kathy and Billy away. Kathy was humiliated. She had never been that embarrassed in her life. In the past, she had always known that she was better than Alex and had enjoyed flaunting that in front of him. She felt sure that leaving Alex had been the wisest choice. But now, Kathy had completely forgotten that he even existed. Kathy and Billy were roughly pushed out of the hall by the police officers. Alex and Debbie looked at each other and felt relieved. It had been more than a month since the robbery, and their names had finally been cleared. Towards the end of the banquet, Alex quietly patted Graham's shoulder, expressing his gratitude for the meal, for his loyalty, and all his hard work for the family. Graham was overwhelmed by his words. Before the banquet ended, Alex dragged Debbie out of the hotel. They called a taxi and headed back to Preston University. In the car, Alex called Ken Stokes. Now that Debbie knew his real identity, there was no need for him to keep anything hidden. "Mr. Stokes, thank you so much for your gift," Alex said with a smile. He didn't believe that it could be a coincidence that Billy had been arrested on the very day that he and Debbie had returned to New York. "Alex, you're too kind," Ken said respectfully. On the day Alex was sent to Harmony Island, Ken had contacted a friend in security, and within days, they had found concrete evidence of Billy's guilt. They delayed giving the evidence to the police because he wanted Alex to witness Billy taken away with his own eyes. "I found out from security that they had already destroyed the Azure Dragon Society. I've also managed to get Miss Debbie reinstated at the university, so that when the two of you return, you can both continue your studies." "You've done a wonderful job, Ken." Alex was very satisfied. Ken had been so generous in his actions. After getting out of the car at the south gate of the school, Debbie wanted to go and get some food at the street food market. Neither of them had eaten much at the banquet. The food market was just opposite the south gate, and it didn't take them long to get there. Indian and Thai food, Chinese pancakes, Mexican enchiladas, burgers, hot dogs, every imaginable type of food was available. This was a great place for the students to get a snack. Most of the vendors were from peasant families and were not well off. Their food stalls didn't earn much, but they were all they had to live on. "Let's go and get a hot dog," Alex said as they walked toward a hot dog stall. All the other stalls were crowded with customers except this one. The food at this one probably wasn't great, but Alex and Debbie were both kinds. They knew these people had hard lives, and they wanted to support them. "Hot dogs for both of you? What toppings would you like? Ketchup, pickles?" the vendor asked as they approached. They were her first customers of the day. "One with ketchup and one with pickles, please," Alex said to the vendor while Debbie took a step back. Suddenly, Debbie cried out. "It's her!" Her eyes were fearful. She hadn't seen the vendor properly at first. Now that they were closer, she could see that it was Madison Robbins. Alex pulled Debbie to him and comforted her in a gentle voice. The last time they had met, Madison had tried to drown Debbie in Ramsey Lake. It was not surprising that Debbie was now afraid of her. Madison quickly walked out from behind the trailer and stood in front of Debbie. She looked at her pleadingly and said, "I'm sorry, Debbie. I was wrong to treat you so badly. Please forgive me. The day she had attacked Debbie, she hadn't regretted it at all. Alex had threatened to make sure that her family disowned her, but at the time, she had been sure that he didn't have the power to do that. However, since then, her uncle's Azure Dragon Society had been destroyed. Before she could even return home that day, her father had called her to completely sever all relations with her and took away all her money. Madison no longer had any financial resources, but she still needed to go to school. How could she live without money? She still dreamed of becoming rich, but now all she could do was borrow money to buy a small trailer and sell hot dogs. She had been running the stall for 20 days, but had hardly sold anything. She ended up eating most of the food she cooked. Just a moment ago, she had been so pleased to have 2 customers. She thought that she could finally earn a few dollars, but she hadn't expected them to be Debbie and Alex. Madison was now very worried. She knew Alex had the power to destroy her uncle's business. How could she live with herself if this happened? Alex hugged Debbie and whispered into her ear, "You can't get over it, can you? You're still really scared of her." "All right, I know what to do." He took out his cell phone and was about to call Ken Stokes. After living on the island for a while, Alex had gradually regained his confidence and his wealth, and had started to act like any other rich student. Madison and her family didn't matter to him at all. Madison's heart tightened. Alex is going to destroy me this time. Even if I beg for forgiveness, Alex won't let this go. No. Debbie suddenly grabbed Alex's hand and shook her head. No, it's over. When they were on the island, Alex had told Debbie that he was going to ruin Madison and make her destitute. But now, looking at her kneeling on the ground, with her clothes covered in grease and the smell of cooking fat, Debbie felt that she had been punished enough. All right, Alex agreed and put away his phone. Thank you, you've been so kind. I will think of a way to repay you. Madison was so happy that she was crying as she bowed her head. She was genuinely grateful, and had no plans to take revenge on Debbie and Alex. She knew that she was beaten. Alex told Madison to stand up quickly so the other people wouldn't see her kneeling. She stood up hastily and made 2 hot dogs for Alex and Debbie. She wanted them to have the food for free, but Alex still paid her $5. Holding the money in her hand, Madison watched them leave. She was stunned. Tears flowed from her eyes. How had she been reduced to this? She put the money into her pocket and began tidying up the hot dog stand as she waited for the next customer. Alex and Debbie returned to the school where they attended a few classes. Afterwards, they bought some groceries and went to Debbie's villa. They stayed together at the villa, although they slept in separate bedrooms. Meanwhile, Kathy and Billy were leaving the police station. Billy's father had agreed to bail him out, and the school had agreed to the bail terms. As long as Billy could return the money within a year, the school would not hold him accountable. You little brat. How did we end up with you as a son? Billy's father kicked his butt, then kicked him onto the ground and slapped him hard on the face. You think you're so smart? Think of a way to earn that money. This is your problem, and you have to get yourself out of it. Billy's father drove away after speaking those harsh words to him. Dad! Dad! Billy covered his cheeks and yelled after his father. All he got in return was a mouthful of pungent exhaust from the car. He was on the verge of breaking down. Kathy was so scared that she started crying. $350,000. How were they ever going to pay it back? Stop crying. Billy looked at Kathy in annoyance. Okay, I've stopped. But it's late, already past 10. Shall we find a hotel to stay in? Kathy said as she wiped her tears. Billy pushed Kathy and shouted, Kathy, are you stupid? I only have a few dollars right now, and you still want to stay in a hotel? Just get lost. Kathy had no money herself. She usually spent Billy's money. I was wrong, all right. Let's take a taxi back to school. Kathy knew that she had to tread carefully with Billy right now. Take a taxi? Do you know how much it costs to take a taxi back to school from here? It's over $30. Are you going to pay for it? Billy stared at Kathy with a mean expression. Kathy's lips trembled as she glared at him. She felt hurt by the way he was speaking to her, and when she looked at him now, he looked ugly to her. "Come on, we'll ride bicycles back to the school." Billy grabbed Kathy's wrist and yanked her toward the row of rental bikes on the side of the road. Kathy suddenly dropped Billy's hand and ran away from him. She waved to a taxi, jumped in, and headed toward the school. Billy was furious. He cursed, "Kathy, you cow." The next day, Debbie went to school early in the morning. She had missed a lot of classes this month, so had a lot of work to catch up on. Alex got out of bed at 8 a.m. and took a leisurely walk to the school cafeteria. He planned to have breakfast and then go to the dormitory to catch up with Ben and the others. While eating breakfast, Alex looked at his phone. Billy's photo was displayed on the front page of the school's official website. This story was all about the $350,000 that he had stolen. Alex smiled as he listened to the other students commenting on the story. "Isn't that Billy?" one of them asked. "That's right. What's that scumbag doing here?" another responded. Alex followed their line of sight and saw Billy walking into the cafeteria. He walked toward a table where Kathy was slowly eating a bowl of oatmeal. Even though Billy now owes this huge sum of money, it seems that Kathy is staying by his side and supporting him. She hasn't abandoned him. She must love Billy, and people should respect her for that, Alex thought to himself. But suddenly he heard, "You whore." Billy had walked over to Kathy's table and slammed it with a fist. He pointed at Kathy and said, "Kathy, you bloody cow. How dare you run away from me yesterday? You're unbelievable. I can't believe that you just jumped in a taxi and ran away. Do you know how I got back? I had to ride a bike. My legs are knackered." Kathy looked at the furious Billy with a small smile. When he finished shouting, she said quietly, "Let's break up." Episode 57, You're the One That I Want. Billy was taken aback for a second, then sneered. "You callous bitch. You're so damn shallow. You used to beg to be with me when I had money, but now I'm in trouble, you want to leave me?" Kathy snorted but didn't say anything. That was exactly what she was going to do. When they had first left the police station yesterday, she had planned to stay with Billy for a while, just because she felt sorry for him. But then when Billy ran out of money, she had had enough. "I've already told you, we're over." Kathy stood up and tried to leave, but Billy grabbed her hand, hurting her. "I should have known from the beginning what you're really like. You're not nearly as special as you think you are. I'm sick of you." Billy looked Kathy up and down and continued, "You can leave if you want, as long as you give me back all the money that I spent on you." "Billy, are you even a man? You want to ask a girl like me for money? Don't you have any shame?" When Kathy heard him ask her for money, she was horrified. "I was your girlfriend for so many months. You should be paying me money for all the time I've spent with you, not asking me for money. Have you got no pride?" "I spent hundreds of thousands on you. Do you really think you were worth it?" Billy's not thinking straight. "First, I have to find $350,000 to pay back, and now Kathy says she's leaving me. Okay, since you're begging, I'll let you off some of the money. You did give me some good times in bed. If you pay me $350,000, we'll be even." "Psycho," Kathy said as she stared at Billy in disbelief. "You're not getting a cent from me. It's you who has to pay back the money. You're the one the police are after." "You bloody whore. Trying to get one over on me?" Billy said as he looked at Kathy. Her face had 5 finger marks on it, and her hair was messy. He continued, "You know, I know some dangerous people. If you don't get my money from me within a week, you had better watch your back." Billy wouldn't stop talking. "If you can't pay me back, you're in big trouble. Even if I have to go to jail, I'll get even for this," he whispered into Kathy's ear. His sinister sneer made her shiver. "Now piss off." Billy gave Kathy a hard shove. Kathy knew a little about Billy's past. She knew that with his connections and determination, he would get his revenge if she didn't give him the money he wanted. But where was she going to find $350,000? Kathy walked past Alex in a daze. Her mind was filled with thoughts about the $350,000, and she didn't even notice him there. Alex sighed. He felt a little sorry for Kathy. When she had first fallen in love with Billy, he had worried that it would end badly, but he had never imagined it would be as bad as this. It's all Kathy's fault. She's always been so greedy. He shook his head and continued eating. Kathy walked out of the cafeteria looking dejected. All her usual energy had gone. The huge amount of $350,000 pressed down on her so heavily that she could barely breathe. Kathy sat down on the curb outside. She didn't care if her pants were dirty and other students were laughing at her. She hugged her knees and let the tears flow from her eyes. Hating herself, she thought, why did I have to aggravate Billy when I knew how angry he already was? And now what have I achieved? Not only am I not going to marry a rich man, but I have to find this huge sum of money to give him. Her mind turned naturally to Alex. When I was with Alex, he always put me first, without any ulterior motives. Even though I humiliated Alex when I left him, he never tried to get his own back on me as Billy did. Thinking about the two men, she realized how much better Alex was than Billy. If Alex is rich after all, maybe I should try to win him back. Maybe he could still care about me. Kathy couldn't help but wonder. It's been proven that it was Billy who stole the $350,000, which means that the money that Alex donated was his, which proves that Alex is rich after all. And yesterday at Graham's banquet, Alex won the diamond necklace. He is rich. If Alex was willing to help Kathy, then all her problems would be solved. Thinking of this, Kathy became excited. She felt a ray of hope. The key question now was, would Alex help her? When we were together, he gave me everything I wanted. Although I left him, he used to love me. Debbie, that peasant, has been with Alex for quite a while now, but he probably only got together with her because he was lonely and couldn't have me. I outclass her in looks, clothes, and education. If I beckon him, I'm sure Alex will come running back to me like a dog. Kathy felt much better as she thought of this. She stood up from the curb and looked around to see a few boys watching her. Hey, gorgeous, don't be sad. Billy is a bastard. Let's go, we'll buy you a drink. The boys had seen her arguing with Billy in the cafeteria and tried to cheer her up. Don't think I don't know that you're only after one thing, Kathy sneered at them. The sadness from earlier was long gone. Why don't you piss off? She snorted coldly and walked toward her dorm. She needed peace to think of a plan to win Alex back. When he had finished eating, Alex went back to his dorm to catch up with Ben and the others. They were thrilled to see him and asked him about everything that had happened. Alex didn't tell them everything about Harmony Island, only that he had been keeping a low profile and decided to come back when he heard that the real thief had been arrested. He was worried that their friendships would change if he told them who he was. How would he know whether their feelings were genuine or if they were just after his money? Alex knew he would hate that, so he decided to keep his wealth a secret for now. Only after they'd had lunch together did his friends stop asking Alex questions and let him go. Alex noticed that Kathy didn't attend their afternoon class. He was really afraid that Billy might have done something to her. In the evening, Alex wanted to have dinner with Debbie, but she had to stay in the classroom to take supplementary lessons, so Alex left her to it. Just as he was thinking of going out for a meal, Kathy called him. Alex hesitated for a moment, but finally answered her call. Alex! Kathy pretended to be relieved that he'd answered her call, but deep down she was sure that he still had feelings for her. When you saw that it was me calling, you answered the phone so quickly, she thought. What's wrong? Alex asked in a friendly tone. He was afraid that she would do something stupid. Kathy cried softly. I'm fine. I just really want to meet with you. Is that okay? She said in a low and dejected tone. She was trying to get his sympathy. Alex hesitated. Can't I just want to see you? You used to be happy to see me at any time of the day or night. Have your feelings for me changed so much? Kathy asked with a sob. All right, if you don't want to see me, then I have nothing else to say. I guess that the year we spent together meant nothing. She was disappointed, but she didn't end the call. All right, I'll meet with you, Alex said lightly. Great. Meet me right now at the Angel Bar outside the school. She quickly ended the call before Alex could change his mind. Kathy was already in the Angel. She took out her small mirror and admired herself in it. A proud smile appeared on her face. She thought, Alex, I didn't think you would still care so much for me after so long. The moment I called you, you agreed to meet me. You have no pride left at all. However, I don't blame you. You're not blind after all. How could you not want to be with me again? It didn't cross her mind that if Alex was there, he probably would have told her that he only agreed to meet her to get her to stop calling him. As one of the few bars outside of Preston University, the Angel was popular with university students. It was always buzzing. Alex walked into the bar and saw Kathy waving at him from the dimly lit corner seat. Here, she cried out. Alex sat down opposite Kathy, who called the waiter over and said, I want a glass of champagne. Give him a single malt on the rocks. These two drinks came to almost $50, but Kathy thought, why not, since Alex will be paying? The drinks were served quickly. Kathy and Alex were sitting opposite each other at a small table. Kathy took a sip of her wine and quickly said to Alex, I broke up with Billy. Yesterday I found out that he was a thief, and I felt terrible for blaming you for the crime. He's a total thug. I can't be with a criminal, so yesterday when the police confirmed that it was Billy that stole the money, I broke up with him straight away. Didn't you break up this morning? Alex asked with an amused smile as he looked at her. Kathy became emotional. Alex, I couldn't stop thinking about everything last night when I was lying in bed. My mind was all over the place. I realized that I hate Billy. I asked myself what kind of person I want to be with, and I gradually understood the qualities that are important to me. I want someone with integrity, kindness, someone who loves me. I realized that it has nothing to do with whether he has money or not. I began to wonder if I've already met the man who's perfect for me, and I realized that I have. Do you know who my perfect partner is? Who? Alex replied hesitantly. There was a trace of tenderness in Kathy's eyes. She gradually slid her hand toward Alex. That person is you, she whispered. Episode 58. Can you ever speak the truth? As Kathy's hand reached across the table, Alex quickly pulled his hand away. Kathy was slightly stunned. This was not at all what she had expected. She thought she would try again to grab Alex's hand. She had no doubts that she could win it back. She looked at Alex and saw him smiling at her. Kathy smiled awkwardly. He's smiling at me. He's pretending not to care that I left him for Billy. But I think he must be still hurting inside. But he won't even let me touch him. He wants more reassurance from me. Or maybe he can see right through me. Stop worrying. I just need to convince him more. She stared into Alex's eyes, and with a sincere expression, she said, You might not believe me, but even when I was with Billy, I never stopped loving you. I always felt that we would end up together, but I just couldn't stop myself. Alex couldn't believe what he was hearing. You must be having a mental breakdown. You can't even control your own body? Do you think I'm going to fall for such ridiculous nonsense? You said yourself that I might not believe it, so you already know I'll think it's garbage. Alex took a sip of his drink, and with a small smile said, Then you're saying that you had no choice but to go to the hotel with him? Kathy's expression froze. It seemed like Alex was still upset about her and Billy. She tried to think quickly. I know you're still upset that I left you for Billy. Looking back, I know how stupid I was to do that. How could I have gone with such a horrible person? I was an idiot. Too naive. To get Alex's sympathy, Kathy even tried to demonstrate her regret by slapping herself a few times. Stop hitting yourself." Kathy saw that she was hitting her face pretty hard, so he frowned and grabbed her hand. "Ah, so you can't bear to watch me hurt myself, can you? Are you feeling guilty now? Let's see if you try to get away from me now," Kathy thought. She took the opportunity to grab Alex's wrist. "Alex, let me tell you a secret. Although Billy and I live together, I never slept with him. Do you know why?" Kathy's eyes lit up as she looked at him. "Because he can't. Ignore his arrogant appearance. In reality, he's useless. Every time I took off my clothes, he finished before he even touched me." "Kathy." Alex hated Billy, so he couldn't help feeling some pleasure when he heard this. "I've never actually been touched by a man before," Kathy said shyly. Alex laughed to himself. "I can't believe her audacity. If it was up to you, you'd still be with Billy now. And you're trying to tell me that you've never been with a man? Kathy, oh, Kathy, can you ever speak the truth?" Kathy looked at Alex quietly. What she meant was obvious. Surely that would win any man back without hesitation, she thought. Why hasn't Alex made a move yet? Why isn't he saying anything? Maybe Alex feels he's not good enough for someone as beautiful as me. Maybe even though I've hinted to him that I'm willing to take him back, he still doesn't dare try anything. It appeared that if she wanted to win Alex back, she would need to try even harder. "Actually, I've been feeling terrible about the way I treated you, and I want to make it up to you." Kathy stood up and walked to Alex's side, looking into his eyes. She bent down, intentionally revealing her cleavage, and said in a seductive voice, "After drinking so much, I'm sure we both need to use the bathroom. The restroom here is quite large. Plenty of room for 2 people." Under the dim light, her snow-red lips looked especially alluring. She even used her slender fingers to lightly stroke Alex's face. "Let's go, Alex." She bit her lip with her white teeth, desire shining in her eyes. If it was anyone else, they would have dragged Kathy to the restroom by now. Alex, however, pushed Kathy's hand away and said with a smile, "I don't want to go to the bathroom yet. You can go by yourself." Kathy was stunned. She was angry. What does Alex mean by that? I've tried everything I can think of to make it up to him, but he's still not forgiven me. Or is he too insecure to be attracted to someone as beautiful as me? Whatever the truth was, Kathy could not accept it. "Alex, what exactly do you mean?" Her expression instantly changed to one of anger. "Nothing, really. I just wish you would behave with a bit more dignity." Thinking about what Kathy said just now, Alex felt disgusted. What on earth had he seen in her before? "I don't believe that you really don't like me anymore. If you promise to treat me well, I'll be yours again." Kathy was so desperate to win him back that she laid all her cards on the table. Alex felt nauseous again. "I'm sorry, I already have Debbie." He had not changed his mind. "You..." Kathy gritted her teeth as she looked at Alex in frustration. She thought, previously Alex was a dog that I could order around with just a wave of my hand. But now, no matter how much I beg, this loser doesn't even seem to care about me. Kathy felt like a piece of shit with everyone looking down at her. Her nose was sore, and tears were about to start streaming down her cheeks, but she refused to let him see them. "If I cry in front of Alex now, I'll look like a real loser and he'll pity me. I can't cry in front of him. Alex, how dare you look down on me? I don't really like you that much. Don't think you can just reject me and walk away. Do you think I'm desperate to be with you? Well, I'm not. I just want your money. You'll never be with me now." Kathy wanted to belittle Alex and walk away, but when she thought of his money, she forced herself to swallow her anger. She sat in front of him and crossed her legs. She looked into his eyes and said, "Okay, please pretend I didn't say all of that. I know I hurt you when we broke up, but please, can we still be friends? I want to ask you for a favor. Please, will you help me?" "Tell me what you want." Alex shrugged. He had already guessed that Kathy wanted him to give her $350,000. They'd been together for a while before, so he knew how her mind worked. "I broke up with Billy, that piece of trash, and he wants me to give him $500,000. If he doesn't get it, he's going to get one of his friends to kill me. So I really need to borrow $500,000 from you." 500,000? Alex sneered in his heart when he heard this. He thought, in the cafeteria, I heard Billy clearly demanding 350,000 from you. But now you're asking for 500,000 from me. Alex had been preparing to give Kathy the money for free. But at this moment, he realized that she was still playing him for a fool. He felt that he was being used. Sorry, I don't have that much I can give you, Alex said lightly. How can you not have that much? Didn't you donate more than $100,000? Kathy asked desperately. Alex must be bullshitting. All the money's been donated, so there's no more, he responded. You... Seeing the smile on his face, Kathy could not contain herself. Didn't you win a necklace worth $200,000 yesterday? Give it to me to pawn for the money. I promise that my father will return it to you soon. I already gave that necklace to Debbie. It's not mine anymore. How can I take back a gift to my girlfriend? You trash, get it back from me, Kathy screamed into Alex's face. Kathy, Alex shouted. He looked at her with a mocking smile in his eyes. It's your own fault that I'm refusing to lend you the money. Anyway, where is there a law that says I, Alex, must lend you money? Kathy was left speechless by his words. All right, I wondered why you agreed to meet with me so readily. Now I realize that you didn't come to help me, but to make fun of me, right? Kathy was livid. She picked up the glass of wine from the table and threw it at his face. Alex, you lowlife. She then picked up her bag and left without looking back. Alex wiped the wine off his face and watched Kathy leave. There was a hint of sadness in his eyes. He picked up his drink and finished it in one gulp. He paid the bill and chatted a little while with the waiter, who told him that this bar, The Angel, was up for sale. Alex was surprised because the bar was very popular among the students and was a profitable business. In a low voice, the waiter explained to him, Didn't you know the bar was previously protected by the Azure Dragon Society? Last month the society was ruined, and the bar lost its protection. The owners are really scared that she could have a lot of trouble in the future. The boss is really beautiful and definitely needs the protection. Her only choice is to sell the bar. So that's the reason, Alex thought as he left the bar. I like this bar. It's such a shame that they're closing because of the Azure Dragon Society, he thought. Then he had an idea. Why don't I take it over? I'll buy it from the owner, and that'll be some compensation for her. With this thought in mind, Alex walked back to the door of the bar. Just then, a bright red Porsche stopped in front of the entrance. A tall and beautiful woman got out of the Porsche. The doorman immediately ran over to her with an ingratiating smile on his face. The woman threw her car keys at him and walked toward the bar with long strides. She was elegant and had an air of confidence about her. She looked like a model. She wasn't intentionally showing off, but her innate confidence and elegant posture were hard to ignore. Alex was taken aback by her beauty. The doorman of the bar greeted the elegant lady. Lady Carter, welcome. She only nodded slightly in response. Excuse me, please. The woman wanted to enter the bar, but Alex stood in front of her, blocking her way. Then Alex came to his senses and realized what he was doing. He quickly stepped aside and said, I'm sorry. With a faint smile, the beautiful lady walked in. Alex watched her walk by and softly murmured to himself, She's so beautiful. Her face was snow white and her eyes were sparkling, although cold. Her features were perfectly proportioned, and Alex's first impression was that she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Episode 59, I'll Do Anything. Alex only came back down to earth after the beautiful lady had disappeared into the bar. He recalled her face in his mind and smiled. Lady Carter? Is this the beautiful woman who owns the bar? Alex asked to himself. He walked straight over to the doorman at the entrance. He was also watching the woman. Alex cleared his throat and asked him about her. Indeed, as he had expected, the beautiful lady was the owner of the bar. Her name was Vivian Carter. Alex went back inside. He wanted to talk to Vivian about the possibility of buying the bar. He wanted to make sure she didn't sell it to someone else before he had a chance to make an offer. He followed Vivian and ended up in the office area of the bar. "Is anyone here?" Alex called out as he walked into the office. There was no one there, only a conference table and a dozen chairs. He decided that Vivian couldn't have come this way, and he turned to leave. At that moment, he heard a woman's voice calling, "Come in." Alex looked over and saw that there was a door on the far wall of the office. The voice was coming from the other side of that door. Is she calling me? Alex looked around to check that there was no one else in the office, and then slowly walked toward the door. He gently opened it and stepped through. The moment he walked through the door, Alex froze. His body suddenly felt supercharged. The door led to a bedroom and a sitting room suite with a dressing room at the far end. A beautiful woman was standing next to the bed with her back facing him. She was completely naked, except for her bra and panties. To add to the allure for Alex, the air in the room was moist and perfumed with the flowery smell of her shower gel. The beautiful woman's hair was wet, and the droplets of water on her body were reflecting the light. "June, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and give me the fresh towel," said the beautiful lady as she turned around. This lady really does have the body of a supermodel. Even better if that's possible, thought Alex. His heart was hammering in his chest. He was struggling to control himself. "Ah!" the lady exclaimed when she saw Alex. She quickly put on her robe and glared at him as she demanded, "Who are you? How much did you see?" Alex recognized her as Vivian Carter, the owner of the bar and the person Alex was looking for. "I didn't see anything." Alex waved his hand and tried to act cool, but the 2 streams of blood started flowing from his nostrils. He wiped them away awkwardly and said with a silly smile, "Sorry, I'm a bit nervous." "Get out," Vivian said angrily. "Okay, sorry," Alex answered weakly and left. 5 minutes later, Vivian had dressed and she walked out of the small suite. She stared at Alex and walked slowly toward him. Alex could only smile awkwardly. At this moment, another beautiful lady, the manager of the Angel Bar, June, walked in with a towel in her hand. "Vivian, I found a fresh towel for you." "Oh, sorry, I see that you're already dressed." "Who's he?" "He's here to apply for a job as a waiter," Vivian said before Alex could reply. The boy looked to be only 20 years old, so she assumed that was what he was here for, and she was too embarrassed for June to find out what had just happened in the suite. "A waiter? We don't need a waiter here. Sorry," June said to Alex with a smile. She and Vivian had recently been discussing the need to sell the bar, so they didn't need to recruit new waiters. "June, don't worry about him." Vivian turned to Alex. Only Alex was able to read the meaning behind her stern gaze as she said, "You're a student, right? From now on you'll work in our bar. Of course we'll not take up any of your studying time. You can come over for all of your free time. I'll pay $10 an hour. Do you agree?" Actually, the reason I came was..." Before Alex finished his sentence, Vivian interrupted. "Is $10 an hour not enough for you? Look at the clothes you're wearing. Can't you recognize a good offer when you hear one? I offered you a job as a favor. Don't you know what's good for you?" Alex was stunned. He had assumed that Vivian was a well-mannered lady. He had never expected her to be so unreasonable. Then he thought about how he had offended her just now, and realized that she had probably jumped to some conclusions about him too. "It doesn't matter. I'll take the job here. It'll give me the chance to find out all about the Angel Bar, which will be helpful when I buy it." With these thoughts running through his head, Alex agreed. "Okay." Vivian replied, "All right, you can leave now. I'll call you if I need anything. Remember to come here to work whenever you're free from classes." Alex nodded and walked out of the office. "Vivian, our bar is already on the market. Why are you recruiting a new waiter?" June asked, puzzled. Vivian answered, "Didn't you notice his clothes? He was so scruffy. Our bar is only thriving because of the students nearby. We should learn more about them so we can cater to their tastes." She sounded serious, but Vivian was keeping the real reason hidden. She was worried that Alex would tell everyone what had happened, and felt that if he was working for her, he wouldn't do that. Alex felt tired as he walked toward the school. He had told Ben and the others that he now had rented a house off campus and wouldn't be staying in the dorm very often. Tonight, though, they had insisted that Alex stayed with them. When he got to the dorm, he found his friends half-dressed, lying in their beds and laughing loudly. When they saw him enter the room, Ben said excitedly, "Alex, you have to see this. Kathy's also doing a live broadcast. We're dying of laughter watching it. If you don't believe me, ask Max and Joe." Alex looked at Max and Joe, who were also lying on their beds, and then looked at the screen and laughed. Alex washed up and then laid on the bed. He sent Debbie a goodnight message and opened the live broadcast channel. He asked for Ben and Kathy's live broadcast number and entered the live broadcast room. On the screen, Kathy was speaking passionately. Her hair was a mess, and she was wearing way too much makeup. She was saying, "Everyone, thank you for watching my live broadcast show. If you want to get involved, just send me a message. Let me know what you want, and I promise to fulfill your request. Come on, everyone, send in your bids." Max said to Alex, "Alex, you won't believe what Kathy did just now. Someone said they wanted to watch Kathy shake her head side to side 50 times. Kathy immediately shook her head like a madwoman. After shaking her head, she was so dizzy she fell off her chair." Alex frowned slightly. Kathy is clearly hoping to use the live broadcast to earn $350,000 that she needs to pay Billy, he thought. He glanced at the screen. The comments appearing on the screen were all mocking and ridiculing Kathy. One said, "This girl has a great set of boobs. She can be my friend anytime." Another said, "She could have used her looks to make a living, but she thinks she's got other talents." "Best-looking female broadcaster on the entire web," said another. Kathy ignored the barrage of insults and innuendos. "All I need to do is make enough money to pay Billy. If I don't, he'll go crazy, and I don't know what his friends will do to me," she thought. She had looked his friends up on the internet and knew they were capable of just about anything. The sicker, the better. She had already attracted more than 500 fans, but had only earned around $50. If it continued this slowly, she wouldn't be able to get the money she needed. "Hey, didn't Kathy dump you for Billy? Just wait, I'll punish her for you," Ben said to Alex and smiled. "Please don't do anything to her." Alex tried to stop him, but his friend was already engrossed with the live broadcast. "Don't worry," Ben replied casually. Soon his bid appeared on the screen. "Big Brother. Stand on the table and jump 3 times for $20. Alex glanced at Ben with annoyance. He was disappointed in his friend asking a girl to jump on the table. How dangerous is that? He thought. It's just not worth it. However, Kathy accepted the dare. She said to the screen, "Big Brother, I'll do as you request. Please don't forget to give me that reward later." Kathy put down her phone, stepped on a stool, and climbed onto the table. She looked at the camera and said, "Big Brother, I'm going to jump." Once, twice, 3 times. Ah! The 3rd time she jumped up, Kathy stepped on the corner of the table, causing it to shake, and she lost her balance and fell. She cried out in fear as she fell heavily on the ground with a loud crash. Her 2 roommates quickly helped her up. Luckily, she wasn't hurt. Kathy sat hunched on her chair and said to the screen, "Big Brother, I've done what you told me to do. Now you can give me my reward." 20 appeared on the screen as Ben sent the money. Ben snickered and proudly said to Alex, "Bet you feel better now?" Alex suddenly felt angry. He frowned slightly and said to Ben, "Haven't you got anything better to do?" Ben's face stiffened. Thinking about it, he realized that he had overdone it. Alex glanced at Kathy on the screen. She was trying to swallow her pride and continue her live broadcast. He sighed softly and was about to turn it off. At that moment, several words suddenly flashed on the screen of his phone. Time for the duel. The Duel was a new segment released by the broadcasting network that streamed Kathy's show. It involved 2 individuals randomly matched and competing against each other for bids from the audience. The winner would receive a cash reward. The prize money that the winner would receive was shown on the screen. $100,000. That was almost the largest prize anyone had ever heard of. Kathy's eyes lit up when she saw the figure of 100,000. If she could win this amount, she could pay off almost a third of the money that she had given to Billy. This was a great opportunity for her. Then Kathy's opponent appeared. She was another beautiful student called Minnie. She already had more than 20,000 people in her live broadcast room. Looking at Kathy, her competitor, she smiled. The broadcast had started a few hours ago, and this girl only had 500 supporters in her room. Minnie knew that she had a huge advantage. She knew that surely the $100,000 prize money was hers for the taking. Episode 60, The Duel. The duel is starting now. A few words appeared on the screen, followed by a progress bar for each contestant. Both sides were now 0, and the countdown of 10 minutes had begun. 9:59, 9:58. "Hi, lovely Kathy." Minnie waved at Kathy. Kathy's screen name was Lovely Kathy. "Hello," Kathy said, trying to sound nonchalant. She didn't want to be distracted by chatting with Minnie right now. Kathy had already set her heart on the prize of $100,000. Kathy's mind was clear. After being broadcast live for so long, the opponent had far more experience than she did and probably had better tactics. She had only been live broadcasting for a few hours, so she would lose if she didn't do something really special. If she wanted to win, she had to pull out all the stops. She said endearingly to the screen, "Guys, if you have any requests, feel free to ask. As long as you're prepared to bid high, Lovely Kathy will definitely give you satisfaction. You guys in Minnie's room, if you like what you see, why don't you come over to mine?" In Minnie's live broadcast room, some people started to criticize Kathy, saying that she sounded too arrogant and was out of line. Minnie had been hosting her live broadcasting show for a long time. She knew exactly what people liked. Most people like a host who is magnanimous, pretty, polite, and kind, she thought. A host like this attracts the most support. A host likes me. A host like me. An aggressive host like Kathy, who tries to steal her opponent's fans the moment she opens her mouth, and even thinks she can make enough money from her live broadcast to earn a living, won't be popular at all. Sure enough, Minnie's progress bar began to rise. However, some of the people in her live broadcast channel also went to Kathy's live channel to tell her what they thought of her. Kathy's eyes were fixed on the screen, automatically blocking the unpleasant messages. She only paid attention to the messages that would be useful to her. Oriental Red. Take a bucket of water and pour it over your head, sending a banknote gun. This was equivalent to $100. Wolfman. Finish a bottle of cola in one go. Remember to shake it a few times, sending a magic book, equivalent to $30. Whale Rider. Stick 2 pens in your nostrils for 30 seconds, sending a high energy warning, equivalent to $25. Kathy said, "All right, Oriental Red, I'll do it right now. Remember to give me the reward. If my other fans are happy, you can also give me rewards. Thank you, everyone." Kathy took a bucket of water and walked in front of the camera. "Viewers, Lovely Kathy's about to pour a bucket of water over her head. Enjoy the show and remember to send in a reward." Kathy stood with her arms wrapped around her chest and her eyes closed. Her 2 roommates lifted the bucket and poured cold water over her head. Kathy was soaked to the skin, and makeup ran down her face. Her wet clothes clung to her body, and her underwear was visible beneath her clothes. A wave of messages streaked across the screen. Other than the person who bid a banknote rifle, others appeared on the screen. Gifts like necklace, bikini, and signatures cost quite a lot, mixed with Ferrari and high energy warning. On the progress bar, Kathy's side had already reached over 14,000, while Minnie's side only had 500. Kathy was thrilled to see that her progress bar was so much higher than Minnie's. However, even though Minnie was losing, she didn't seem to care at all. Previously, she had been determined to win, but after seeing Kathy trying so hard, she seemed to be supporting her. Minnie even sent in a message to show that she was paying attention to Kathy's account and supporting her. Lovely Kathy is too good. I've never seen such an incredible competitor before. I need to pay attention to her live streaming and learn from her. Kathy read the message and thought, don't think that I don't know that you're only pretending to be on my side. I won't be fooled by you. That 100,000 is mine, so don't even think about taking it away. Kathy continued with her show. Now the challenge I'm really worried about, she said on screen. Wolfman, I'm going to drink the cola in one go now, and don't worry, I'll remember to give it a shake. She took a 20 fluid ounce bottle of cola from her roommate, shook it vigorously as he requested, and opened it with a smile. She drank all the contents in one go. The carbon dioxide from the cola made her throat itch. As the liquid rushed into her mouth, some went down her windpipe, causing her to cough and splutter. Kathy wanted to vomit, but when she thought of the prize of $100,000, she shut her eyes tightly and refused to let the cola spurt out. She swallowed the drink down bit by bit. Some of the brown liquid leaked from her mouth and dropped onto her chest. Kathy had managed to drink the bottle of cola in one go. As she spoke to the screen, she let out a long burp. The pungent smell made her eyes water. But she didn't let herself think about feeling humiliated at all. She only allowed herself to think about the money. As long as she could get the money, she was willing to do anything. After drinking the cola, Kathy continued to satisfy all the weird requests that other viewers had made. Slap yourself hard in the face. Eat a length of toilet paper. She did everything they asked. With only 2 minutes to go, Kathy seemed to be winning by a mile. Her total was already at 27,000, while Minnie's was only at 2,000. At this moment, Minnie, who had been quietly watching Kathy's humiliating performance, murmured, "The competition is just about to begin." She turned to the screen and said, "Viewers, let me give everyone a song called Cold. Those who enjoy it, please remember to send me a gift to show your appreciation." Minnie turned on the accompaniment to the song. She turned it up loud and started to sing. The night is getting cooler, flowers turn to frost on the ground. You are watching from a distance, all twilight is exhausted. Forget yourself without thinking. Minnie knew people enjoyed her singing. She had used this trick before on her live broadcast. Kathy heard Minnie singing and thought to herself, she must be getting desperate. She must have seen that I'm miles ahead of her. Does she think singing that sad song is going to help her? People want to watch a show that's lively and gives them something to laugh at. And to think that she's a host with 20,000 fans. What a shame. Kathy said on screen, "Viewers, all of you out there, there are only 2 more minutes before I win." Kathy held up a basin full of water. "I'll pour another basin of water over myself if you all send in more gifts." The basin of water was poured over by her friends. Minnie wasn't affected in the slightest. She continued to sing leisurely as she slowly danced. The effect was intoxicating. "Stunning," said one message. "You're from another world," another agreed. Minnie was still singing. The heart of the sea, he could no longer feel the pain, but it was all an illusion. At that moment, the voice singing in the men's parts changed. It sounded like it was being sung by a real man. Everyone in the live broadcast room was stunned. Minnie, who continued singing, glanced at the screen of her phone. She was waiting for something. Kathy watched her and thought, "Okay, you're talented, but it's too late." She poured another bucket of water over herself. However, everyone noticed that the number of rewards being gifted to Minnie was shooting up. Teen Spirit, sending you 10 money guns. Cloudwalker, sending you 10 Tiger Teeth #1. Sky Wolf Emperor, sending you 15 mantras. In addition to these high-value items, there were even more people donating other gifts, such as blood bottles, cups, and hot pots. They were sending more than 10 of each. Kathy watched helplessly as Minnie's progress bar soared, catching up to hers, and then overtaking it. Kathy was getting desperate. She said to the screen, "Viewers, we haven't got much time and we're losing. I swear you can have whatever you ask for now. Quickly, get bidding." Messages from Minnie's fans started appearing on the screen of the live broadcast room. Midnight Man. You still think you can compete with us? Now you're so far behind? You think too much of yourself. Guardian. You think you can beat Minnie Fan Club? You who's only been broadcasting live for a few hours, you think you can beat Minnie? Heavenly Wolf. The Minnie Fan Club's invincible. We are united in our goal to help Minnie to win the prize and become the queen of live broadcasting. Minnie's biggest fan. Everyone shouts our slogans, get ready, get up. A barrage of support messages for Minnie appeared on the screen. Minnie will eventually become the queen of the internet. Minnie will eventually become the queen of the internet. Minnie will eventually become the queen of the internet. Minnie, who is still singing, noticed the messages on the screen and was thrilled. At first, she had held off, wanting to see how strong her opponent was. If the competition was too strong, then Minnie had planned to let her fans keep their presents until the next competition, when she knew that she could win the duel. That way, her profits would be maximized. When she saw that Kathy was no match for her, she immediately sent a signal to her fans. Start sending in your gifts so we can win the $100,000 prize money. Glancing at Kathy, who was jumping and screaming, Minnie laughed happily. She started singing even more enthusiastically. You can't beat me, Kathy. The prize is mine, she thought. The time was down to the last 30 seconds. By now, Minnie's progress bar was 3 times Kathy's. Minnie's supporters were sure that she would win and started to relax. Minnie continued to sing. A cool night for you across the sea. Turn into spring blossoms to protect me. Shallow years caressed your lover's sleeve. Pieces of crystal flow into the water. As Minnie sang, she looked and saw that Kathy was close to tears. Kathy had been tormented almost beyond her endurance, and she looked like a complete mess. But she had received such a small reward in return. Minnie had so easily turned the situation around with just a few words. The prize money would soon be in her hands. She was feeling very pleased with herself right then, but in fact she had no idea of what was about to happen. Kathy felt her anger building as she listened to Minnie's song, Cold. She believed that in some way the song was intentionally ridiculing her. The seconds counted down. 10, 9, 8. Minnie was continuing to sing beautifully and her fans were already celebrating. Kathy stood there looking like a drowned chicken. Her whole body was drenched, and she shivered and clenched her fists tightly. Her pure white teeth bit her lips as she glowered at Minnie. But she had lost. What could she do? 5, 4, 3. Kathy squeezed her eyes in pain as a line of tears rolled down her face. Then, in the last few seconds, some messages appeared on a live broadcast screen. Adam Childs gifted 10 space-time battleships and 5,000 Tiger Teeth coins. This was equivalent to $2,500. A row of space-time battleship gifts appeared on the screen. Kathy's progress bar had almost caught up with Minnie's. An admirer gifted you 10 warship space-time battleships. The viewer made his move again. After giving another 10 gifts, Kathy's progress bar had overtaken Minnie's. 1, 0. The duel time was over.
Thank you for listening to Crown TV. Please don't forget to subscribe, share and turn on the notification button.